just a good show before.
He fucked the tree up! Fucked it good! It was porno! Stop choking, Kuno!
Kuno's not fucking choking. Like fuck you did. Kuno's... Shit. The fuck did you want anyway? You got your fuck bag down. Now let's talk normal shit. Yes. Kuno wants a normal conversation. Ask no... You found Kuno's secret door to Kuno's secret shack. It was closed for 5,000 years. How the fuck did you get in? And then what? You fuck...
He's trying to fuck at you again!
Good call, Pigmeister. Don't come and talk to Kuno about his kid. Kuno doesn't...
Be still, my beating heart. It's amphetamine. Yes, there isn't enough anyway. The man ponders his cooking utensils. The mention of mañana gets his They're friends. The man says a couple of sentences in that strange language. I'm pretty sure he asked you a question. He doesn't know your language. You can just say something cool in return.
Horse need more vodka?
Vodka borscht! I love it, Bratan! Turn it the fuck up and then ask for...
Turning it up seems like a dangerous idea, honestly. The place is a powder keg. He smiles, nodding vigorously. He smiles and nods enthusiastically.
Hello, dear. I didn't notice you at first. Oh my. What happened to the water lock? Oh, sweetie. Listen, sweetie, I hate to ask, but if your investigation happens to, and if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the work. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Of course, dear. Is there a particular cryptid that you're interested in learning about? Yes. Yes, it was reported by soldiers in South Safra during the war. The kind green, yes. It has amazing healing. Indeed, there is. Which is to say, the kind green ape is a species with which we share a common ancestor, and that evolved parallel to our own, just like your partners. In everyday speech, human isn't really a scientific category. For all legal and ethical purposes, your partner, some argue that the kind green ape should all Cryobacter cadlensis. Yes, a unicellular bacterium that the bacterial colony Mijanu found had Mijanu disappeared shortly after injecting herself with the bacteria she had brought back to study, no doubt in hopes of prolonging her own life. Everything has. After Mijanu treated herself, we can assume that she has been. What an interesting. The Col de Mama d'Aqua, or thin whisper of sound. And that's precisely what it's.
Col de Mama d'Aqua can also be translated as a whisper like.
It could be. It could. Yes. That's another. Although the low part is a little ironic. Many scientists have asked the same question. Some have claimed that it isn't itself plenty. It's the evidence that led to its discovery. When playing back recordings they had made, the scientists soon discovered they could track and even predict what appeared to be. They realized that they had discovered a new species and called it the Col de Mama d'Aqua. They grew quite obsessed with these little birds. Sequester, Time, Joscan, that is a sad story. A group of they tried to communicate with it and had no other means. Psst.
They cancel each other out.
Exactly. And these tests were performed so recklessly that when they happened upon the right frequency...
Great regret washes over her.
After that, the corpuscle appears to have migrated elsewhere. There have been recordings. What about what? I'm glad you like them.
As you turn, a bright light catches your eye, making you squint. So cool. From a distant sunset, a stage light, flash photography, nowhere in particular. It's just what superstar law officers do. They squint at lights, and they solve shit. Yeah, you have. You're a big dick cop, Dick Mullen. Salem Rocky, but with a sudden flash, the world freezes around.
Can I help you?
Got the 20 real? You must be kidding, right? Yeah, but this establishment only takes cash. Now, good. You got the room for the night, but remember, you'll need another 20...
The door is... This door still. Was that? Could it be? The Col de Mama d'Aqua? There seems to be. and extremely honestly. Your ear isn't hearing a whole lot. The distant hum of the industry. There it is again. It must be very close. Oh no. No. Too late. It's gone. Keep your ears peeled then. The dented yellow Melb. The box.
Yes? Hello? Me? No,
She doesn't really want to be. Is she such a working class woman? Why?
not all the time. Right now I'm browsing books. Even a working class woman it is. I know you are. What with?
Her hands move over the book covers.
My husband? No, he's not. I don't know. At home now? Out drinking? Yes, but... I don't really need to know where my husband is. No. Why are we still talking?
She has, though. The husband is totally lost. You should tell her.
What? Who said anything about shame? Stop talking down to me.
But he is. You can feel it. Or maybe.
No, absolutely not. Are you a policeman or a nanny? They are not
You know where they are. They're at home. Smoking.
What? That's just... My daughters are perfectly fine. They're with their... They're almost grown up now anyway. They're past the age they need me protecting them from everything now. My youngest girl, Jolie, is just shy of 16. Jenny, she is turning 18 next month. But we shouldn't even be talking about... Why do you need to know this? Haven't I repeatedly told you that they're not missing? That they're in Jamrock? Say there is no investigation here. I don't mean to disrespect, sir, but you are being a bit of a... I don't even have a cockatoo.
It's a trap. Never ever say what.
Great. Wonderful.
The woman before. There. Working class drunk. You know what this means, right? Cracked it. All in a good day's work. What do you mean, what did I crack? Look at how working class that drunk is. Yes, and you found him. Now go and tell the working... There's no need for champagne when...
God damn it, I already told you. My husband is very well then. Where is he? Excuse me?
There's something else hiding in her voice, though. A trace.
Right, 'cause working class women come with alcoholic husbands.
Remember, about that what. Never ever say what.
You were right. I do have an alcoholic husband. Although not that one. I did, and he is. No, he's not. Or maybe he is, I don't know. I haven't seen him for... Well, to hell with him.
There. She's worried now. She sighs.
All right, go ahead. Do you have any questions? Honestly, not that different from you. That's one way to put it, yes. What else? He was wearing a dark brown leather jacket with a bright blue inner lining. The lining is hand-sewn. It's his cool jacket. I even tried throwing it away once, but he just dug it out of the bin. Can you believe it? Well, what can you do? I hope that at least that extra line...
She's thinking about him out in the cold, in some park, or on the coast. And it's...
Yesterday morning, he went to the library. He went to retrieve my book because we talked about this. We talked about not wandering off again. I don't know what to do.
Gone for around 36 hours. She turns away from you in an...
So you are going to look for him. Thank you. Please do. Even though I'm sure he will return home by himself.
Hello again, esteemed officer.
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inactive. A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and grays appear. Behind the water lies a... You know this to be the star of Periconesus. The church looks old and weather-worn. Around the large wooden building, you see chunks of sea ice gathered. The metal feels cold and wet under the mute machine. This coin-operated viewer is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25 centimes and pull. Your money disappears into the coin slot. The curtains on the display open. You lean in to catch the view. The lenses shift. The ghost sharpens into an islet in the bay. In the ruins, a man-made structure is visible. It looks as if it was abandoned quite some... Its leaves ripped from it by the winter wind. The little brave birch tree seems to wave back. crumpled billboard reading, Samaran butter soaks in the canal. Two ugly lines, judging by the size of the impact and the parallel lines of burnt rubber. The cause was probably a motor vehicle. Side slip marks indicated that the vehicle was traveling. The black marks on the roof indicate that the vehicle vaulted from the crater to the... The vehicle soared through the air. The sign broke the vehicle's fall in the Samaran butter billboard still looks freshly painted within the past 72 hours. The panel served as a takeoff. Still speeding, the vehicle made a loop and vanished into the fog along the coast. There are two good candidates. The Caprice 40, it's about the right size. And the tire marks look like they came. The Caprice 40 is a very popular model with bank clerks, top, very sturdy but light motor carriage. The Linear G22 is not a particular. You'd have to follow the tracks to be sure. Snow is quietly covering the numerous wine bottles and cigarette butts on the ground. Look at it.
Yeah, we did, Bratan. And from the looks of it, we had a hell of a time. Hell of a time, Bratan. Oh, so advanced. Deep.
Unpromising race pupil returns.
The tear machine. Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money.
Is it, wow. I didn't know you worked for the union, sir. Anything else?
No, you don't work for the union. The union works for you.
A warehouse? I don't know. Maybe.
She looks up from up.
Fine. For it doesn't have a warehouse. Just a little back room here. Okay?
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that. This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Trying to sneak up on pigs come to take me out. Trying to snuff me out. Then why are you sneaking up on me?
This must be it. The basement door is weather-worn. The copper nails holding the upholstery in place have turned green from sea air.
The streets will flow red once more, a great torrent rushing down Rue de Esperance. You wait and see. I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type. The last time I was tested for Hep C. Had a battery of tests just last week. I'm practically a patchwork of interesting...
A brush, an artist. The red splatter is urban expressionism.
I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts. What do I care about some fucking tin eggshells? Ugh, all right, sad piggy. I'll give you this one. I saw a little girl in the fishing village running around with military-grade handwear. Looked cute as hell. If you haven't been there, the village is a shithole down the coast from the main plaza. Have a good time? No. That's all the snitching, Cindy the Skull. I have a weakness for animals.
The lieutenant furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms. Hatred, disgust. It's difficult. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That Ozon whore. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Rivershore.
Isn't it part of your job to know all the illustrious personages round this shithole? She's the wild something morbid about old ladies trying to look young.
That's rich, coming from a young girl dressed up like a gran.
Oh, but that's the way it should be. Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words. Have you ever tried your hand at graffiti-o? We rarely see pigs round here.
She wants it to be something true, and...
This place is severely lacking in. I thought I'd mix it. Yeah? Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official artist.
She means the opposite. You've lessened her desire to deface the building.
Watch your back, ungulate.
A sturdy metal door guards the south. The door rattles again. But
Stop banging on the door. I'm not letting any more strangers inside. Doesn't matter who I am.
from within comes the faint sound of a broom sweeping across the concrete.
The police? Everyone knows the police don't come round here. No, I already told you. Go check the backyard door. Maybe someone there.
Backyard door. There must... striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets.
Good afternoon, officer. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbor. You must be from the RCM. I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly. Why, yes, I am. The boat? No.
The word, it, feels strange. Such a beauty.
Okay. How about Cordillechi 19? Why? Because it was manufactured in Revachol East.
She makes a point of being unromantic about it.
What? I think I'll stick with the factory name. But thank you. Okay, because it was...
She makes a point...
Why Dolores? Well, it means nothing to me. I think I'll stick with the factory. It's a pleasure craft. A 90... My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips. Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou. We are. And the city of Revachol is on the island of Le Caillou. I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
She's referring to Lieutenant Kitsuragi's
No matter whose it is, a motor carriage is just a...
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Why what? Stop thinking. Take her down. You're not? Okay then. Just keep on admiring the boat then, unburdened by envy.
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are pulled. Her nonchalance might be related to something called...
Good. What we do? I'm afraid...
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, and that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is Long Son-Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known.
Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in... 20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 70... A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? They started as an exploration and centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of this, you mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? We built this district. All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions. The plazas, Meteor and Mosaic. Even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP. Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a company getaway. For a weekend or a summer holiday.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secret. First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments that gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus. Good luck is only kept in place by the vested interests of I'm afraid the Emergencies Act was put in place by the same coalition government.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer. They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped. Now they won't even let me into the harbor. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially... I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in pride. The union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say...
ludicrous even. It's meant.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock come to plead for work? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you.
Mr. Clare told him to... fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
Sounds like usual aggressive posturing.
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the... Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings. That may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king, but as negotiations go, it's not a swell start. I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position. A hard-nosed tactic with a side of... And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one. Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother. Have you seen him? Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does. And when one's term is full, it's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Debarders Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say? Or a mob. Sadly, Wildpines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the wolf always... I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She did... Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story. Downright haunting, if you ask me. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares, of course. How else can I help? You have? And how did you like Mr. Clare? Oh, come on now. He has his uses. How else would he have stated corruption? That's how he's... Of course. I don't expect you to share anything he told you with me. I'm not a verm. How could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural.
Intellectually speaking, it would be quite interesting to hear what she has to say.
Yes, your disgusting necktie agrees completely. Let's gossip.
Oh, so very, very helpful. And how is that going? Well, maybe he's not as helpful as you thought then. Is there anything else? Did you now? What sort of borscht is he making? The strike brew. That's a classic. And why, if I may ask, why make them more drunk? Aren't they corked enough already? Very curious. What else? Of course, Detective. Until then, is there anything I can help you with? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your name and badge number. I just can't go around telling what happened to it to
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? Oh dear. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. However, this isn't about my feelings. There's also protocol.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. She's a negotiator. Just float a favor at her.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my...
You're in, but expect her to drive a hub.
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union
They're profiting from this trade.
The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority, or you can... It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samar and Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. What? Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff. Yes. Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dock Workers Union.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the...
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbor into the...
How convenient that they're stranded like beach...
Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still...
Her irises are light green.
I'll be explicit. If you find this drive...
Uncovering Union secrets could also give you...
We did. On more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under. Well, here's your chance. No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of liters of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the... How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong. It's true they drove a number of the local businesses to bankruptcy preparing for this venture. Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely. Then loaded onto lorries and driven... Yes? Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers linked. It may come to nothing, or in the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance. That's the man who was killed. I'm better not tie the Force Day to the Bat's Day on this.
She wants to answer the question.
That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the force day to the...
She wants to answer the question.
This reality. Ah, yes. But then I'm no doctor.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
We're in Martinez, baby. Martinez is a district of... You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year. I'm not a good ambassador. I've only... As I told you, Martinez used to be a province. A workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its part. Now the Reeds are the real star of the show here. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets. It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of... Yes. We're...
Known to the early Rivisholians as vast, lukewarm, and unknowable.
Caillou, as you already know.
It is clear this pebble is of and to humanity at large.
Revachol? The great...
As if it's self-explanatory.
History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, in the DeLorean century. The nations of the Occident. They say it's where the terror... By that I mean... We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island, able to sustain up to 200 million people. In the middle of the Insulindic Ocean. The world's connect... Oh, we're quite a way off. About...
A collection of tall ghosts behind the water vapor. Light reflecting off their glass windows.
22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Insiacom. Coalition government in Silindi.
Silence. The water, the light. There is no recognition. Only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it. She observes your eyes scanning the horizon, then breaks the silence, slowly. This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you?
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown. These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. These are for the big time, the revolution. It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next. Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head.
She's not gloating. It's a
Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well.
She likes the totality of it.
Indeed. They piled them in mass graves in Ozon. And did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people. Yes, the Red Deluge. The Insulindian Deluge, they call it. Yes, an acute thiamine deficiency can be exacerbated by alcoholism. Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad. About head shooting, the liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything. Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective. Or the remaining gentry. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the Ultras, or Ultra. They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing.
We. She's one of them. Of course.
To foreign intervention. The Coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. The Liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The Coalition of Nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper,
There is bitterness in her voice. Tempered.
The Moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe, at least not in the same manner and volume. This is their zone of control. The
color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment.
An almost endearingly moralist standpoint. It must be hard to take the turn-of-the-century revolution. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad. It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities... It made people overthrow their governments. Indeed, Zarat is a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world... Why? You and I, officer.
Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat and you have that necktie?
No doubt. But we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you think. A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the Coalition of Nations. And you, of course, the Citizens' Militia.
The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill. Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter. Outside, Officer Elfboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage.
The zone of control is the third incarnation of modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-Islary communication. Telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics.
51 minus 8 equals...
Time flies. The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled. The 30s... Things settled down in the 30s.
All that untaxed income must have fueled the new.
Yes, and quantitative easing. It was a market mirage. Welcome to reality.
From the looks of it, the 50s haven't been much better for the zone of control. You can see it in her eyes. Days slipping away.
I've no right to be dissatisfied. This shirt is Barbara Muscova. This raincoat is impervious to rain. We could have had so much more. Every one of us. Good question.
No, her first.
And I asked you, past less detective of the Citizens' Militia, what insight has acute encephalopathy given to you? You and everyone else. But that's got nothing to do with preventing the revolution. They are what they are, anyway. Enough.
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer.
It's a neurological disorder caused by a lack of vitamin B in the brain.
She conveys it in short. Cole, in case he goes down later, souring the entire portfolio.
It's not just me, Detective. All of Martinez has placed its... well, it's either bariatric surgery... That seems...
Yes, and perform autoerotic asphyxiation on yourself with your funny necktie! Out in the open somewhere!
6 kilometers southwest in the Valley of Dogs. Junior Officer Chad Tilbrook takes aim at a rabid black dog licking its wound. To his left, his partner, Emil Mullins, whispers, Yes, he lost his mind, Tilbrook answers. Think we always...
You? You're Preciso Mundo. Nothing more nor less than the de facto law enforcement body of post-revolutionary Revachol, detective. Yes, that means not de jure. The RCM acts in what is poetically called the twilight of international law, both at the behest of the coalition government. The RCM's responsibilities are defined by the Emergency, Wayfarer and Aliments Acts, 3 pieces of legislation keeping the city in a, let's be honest, laissez. Truly moralist of you. The coalition government would applaud you for staying out of... There's nothing basic about your role, Yet, on the other hand, I know these people. I deal with them daily. Let me tell you, dear, they are... The post-revolutionary decade was a disaster for the coalition government. Revachol in the... They called it the international zone, because no nation... So, permit me to conclude with this. Who you are to me is the police. And if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the basic terms of reality...
She won't maneuver her way out of this one.
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor. A devourer of nations. I am an ultra. No, not like me. I am the nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp who pushed the king under a Are you liberated enough to offer up your home on a plate for financial colonists? No.
In her green eyes, you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride.
I do hope so. I do hope we're able to remain collegial despite it all. When the dust settled, the Liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape. With due respect to our overlords, the Eternal, I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the Coalition. Not here in Martinez, then for my daughters.
Dark orange flames reflect in her green eyes.
Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother. A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless... some sort of... krill... Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. Ah! This is the pier of Rue or 2. A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new building. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories. Mostly the urban middle class. Splat, splat.
You could be wrong. But from here, it appears as if she's running the brush.
Wonderful. Nothing more. Yes, that means permit. And if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the girl in the old lady rags. Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of... Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the... She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is young people who dye their hair funny colors and wear old people... All right. What next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture.
And what would that be? I can see that, yes. I dabble in those dark... Nothing infra about disco, baby. Those days are long behind me. And even in the new, a cultural era, and the name of the decade it ravished, the 30s. It involved lots of partying, as you might imagine, and champagne-colored everything. By the looks of it, that would have been when you came of age. Now... Wasn't it Guillaume le Million who said, if you can remember... Ah, yes. This is not very... I can't be 100% sure, but I believe he died due to complications. You can't get a venereal disease from that, can you? All of them. I'm afraid no. But then again, anyway, what other basic facets of reality should we discuss?
A strange coldness comes over you as you look at the world. The way it's on the tip of your tongue. A doubt of sorts.
Glad to have been of assistance. More lessons in basic... Glad to have been of assistance. Of course, detect.
Some kind of superstar. They say the world isn't ready for a rock and roll cop. No one wants their state monopoly on violence to be mixed with celebrity worship. They claim to know it would be dangerous for detectives to rise to the rank. Wow, you work hard. Oh, yes, you hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there. Oh, yeah, like a horse. Look at yourself. You're a human. That is the sign of a hustler. A little. You make money. It ain't easy, but you do it. Day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop. Wasn't easy getting that giant novelty check from Everard. You didn't log that in as a donation. Yeah, you're in the sales business. Sure. And has it been easy? Is life? Are you rich? That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave, and you're still practically a... Because of the taxes, G-Man's got his jam-covered sticky fingers in your pocket. Stealing... Aren't taxes almost non-existent in the Gossamer state? That is Revachol. You and I both, but they got those indirect modes of taxation. 98% of all your money. Here you go, hustler. Fight the righteous fight. Free the people.
You're back.
A sturdy metal door. The door.
Stop banging on the door! Ha! The police? No. Go check the
Backyard door. Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire?